You tell me who want to live like this. Been out here 1 year, and no other choice. I suffer from a brain stroke. I can't walk. The streets is where nobody want to live. Nobody.
Very scary out here. You don't know what's going to happen to you. You know? And I end up homeless.
Welcome to Homeless US. Los Angeles is a city built on distance. Distance between neighborhoods. Distance between paychecks and rent. Distance between what people imagine and what people live through. From the freeway, the city looks like motion. Billboards, palm trees, stadium lights, a skyline that keeps expanding. But step off the postcard path, and Los Angeles becomes a different kind of map. A map made of sidewalks. A map made of parking lots. A map made of people who do not have a door to close, even when they are exhausted. In the early morning, when the city is still quiet, you can hear the small sounds that don't make the movies. A zipper on a tent, a shopping cart rolling over cracked pavement, a bus arriving before sunrise, and someone waking up fast, because sleeping too deeply outside can mean losing the one bag that holds your life. This documentary is not here to mock anyone. It is not here to treat struggle as entertainment. It is here to look carefully at what happens when housing becomes unreachable and when health risks rise for people who already live without stability. And there is another pressure running through this story, one that has changed the timeline of crisis across the United States. A drug supply that has become more unpredictable, where fentanyl has made overdose emergencies more likely and more sudden. If you stay with us until the end, you will understand something important. Homelessness is rarely a single moment. It is usually a chain reaction. And in Los Angeles, that chain reaction is happening on a massive scale. Recent local reporting, citing the region's homeless count, has described Los Angeles County with a homeless population in the tens of thousands. Roughly around 75,000 people in the most recent count period covered there. Numbers matter, but we are not here to reduce people to numbers. We are here to follow the reality behind them. Chapter 1. The City of Dreams and the City of Survival. Los Angeles sells the idea that you can restart your life. A new job, a new identity, a second chance. But for many people, the restart never arrives because the costs move faster than the paychecks. In a city where housing prices can feel like a private club, the margin disappears quickly. And the margin is where stability lives. One person we spoke to described it like this, paraphrased testimony to protect privacy. I had a health issue. I couldn't work the same way. I tried to keep up, then I ran out of time. That is one of the quiet truths of homelessness. It often begins with time running out. A missed paycheck, a cut in work hours, a medical bill, a rent increase, a car repair that arrives at the worst moment. From there, the fall can be fast. People think homelessness looks like one image: a tent, a sidewalk, a person asking for help. But in Los Angeles, homelessness often looks like someone trying to hide it. Someone washing up in a public restroom before work. Someone charging a phone at a library and leaving quickly, hoping no one complains. Someone sitting upright on a bus route that runs late because sitting upright is safer than lying down. In the daytime, the city keeps moving. Tourists, offices, film sets, fitness classes. In the evening, the city divides into two timelines. One timeline goes home. The other timeline starts looking for a place to survive the night. Chapter 2. What you see on the street and what you don't. If you drive through Los Angeles and only look out the window, you might think you understand the crisis. But homelessness is not only what you see. It is also what people are doing to avoid being seen. You might see tents clustered near freeway walls where the wind breaks. You might see a line outside a shelter before the sun goes down. You might see people carrying blankets rolled tight like a habit. You might also see people who do not look homeless at all. A clean shirt, a steady walk, a calm face. And then you notice the detail. They never put the backpack down, because that backpack is not an accessory. It is a bedroom. It is a filing cabinet. It is medication. It is identification. It is survival. People often ask, why don't they just go to a shelter? It sounds simple, but shelter access is not just a door you walk through. It depends on bed availability. It depends on intake hours. It depends on transportation. It depends on whether you can keep your belongings safe. It depends on whether you are with a partner, a child, or a pet. It depends on rules that may exist for safety, but still collide with real life. Some people avoid shelters because they are afraid. Afraid of theft. Afraid of conflict. Afraid of being separated from someone they care about. Afraid of losing the one bag that keeps them connected to services. So people improvise. They build a survival routine. Where can you wash your hands? Where can you use a bathroom without being chased out? Where can you rest without being told to move? That is the part many housed people don't understand. Homelessness is not only the absence of a home. It is the constant mental work of staying safe in public. Chapter 3. The numbers and the people the numbers miss. Every year, communities try to measure homelessness. Nationally, one of the most recognized tools is the point-in-time count, a snapshot designed to estimate how many people are experiencing homelessness on a single night. And every count has limits, because homelessness moves. People sleep on couches and rotate between friends. People live in vehicles and move before anyone arrives. People avoid contact because contact has hurt them before. So the count is never the full truth. It is the minimum confirmed picture, but counts shape everything. Funding, staffing, beds, outreach teams, public urgency. And in a city like Los Angeles, urgency is not optional, because the scale of homelessness creates a second city inside the city, one that requires constant emergency response just to keep people alive. National reporting on federal data has described homelessness increasing to record levels in recent years. When the national pressure rises, Los Angeles feels it. When rents rise, Los Angeles feels it. When healthcare systems fracture, Los Angeles feels it. And when fentanyl spreads through the drug supply, Los Angeles feels it in emergency calls and grief. We have to say this carefully. Not everyone experiencing homelessness uses drugs. Not everyone who uses drugs is homeless. But the overlap can be deadly when people are living outdoors, exposed, isolated, and exhausted. And in Los Angeles County, overdose deaths have been a major public health issue, with fentanyl involved in a large share of opioid-related deaths in the United States overall. Chapter 4. 3 lives, composite but real. Now we meet 3 people. These are composite profiles, privacy-protecting stories built from common patterns described by service providers, public reporting, and interviews. They are not one identifiable person, but they are real in the way a pattern is real. Composite Story 1, Marisol, a working adult priced out. Marisol works full-time, the kind of job that keeps a city running. She shows up early. She stays late when asked. She tries to do everything right. Her rent rises, not a little, enough to erase her savings. Then her hours get cut for 2 weeks. Not because she did something wrong, because schedules change. Then her car needs repairs because older cars do that. She pays anyway because without the car she can't work. That month the math breaks. Marisol doesn't choose the street. She runs out of options. She starts sleeping in her vehicle. She parks where she hopes she will not be noticed. She keeps her uniform folded carefully, because looking normal is sometimes the only shield you have. In the morning, she goes to work. In the evening, she goes to survival. And she tells herself it is temporary, because if she stops believing that, the city becomes too heavy to carry. Composite Story 2, Leon, an older adult managing illness and medical bills. Leon is in his 60s. He worked for decades. Not glamorous work, steady work. Then his health changed. A stroke, a fall, a condition that doesn't heal quickly. Appointments become more frequent. Bills begin to stack. He tries to keep up, but his income does not stretch the way it used to. Leon doesn't talk loudly about losing housing. He talks about pain. He talks about fatigue. He talks about how difficult it is to manage recovery when you do not have a stable place to rest. And he describes something many people don't think about. It's scary out here, he says, paraphrased testimony, because you don't know what's going to happen to you. That fear is not drama. It is lived experience. Because on the street, illness is not just illness. It is vulnerability. Composite Story 3, Tanya, a young parent navigating shelter rules. Tanya is trying to keep her child stable. School attendance, a normal bedtime, a sense of routine. But shelter life can be a maze. Curfews, check-ins, limited storage, rules that change depending on which program has space. Tanya has a job interview across town. The bus runs late. Her child gets sick. She misses the check-in window by minutes. And the plan collapses. Not because Tanya stopped trying, because the system is not built for how life actually behaves. When families lose stable housing, the damage multiplies. Children carry stress into the classroom. Parents carry shame that makes it harder to ask for help. And still Tanya wakes up the next morning and tries again. These three lies are not rare. They're the shapes of modern instability in an expensive city. Chapter 5. The housing math that turns one problem into a collapse. Here is the simplest truth about homelessness in Los Angeles. If housing costs rise faster than income, the margin shrinks. And when the margin shrinks, ordinary life becomes fragile. If half of your paycheck goes to rent, you are not irresponsible. You're exposed. Your stability depends on nothing going wrong. But life always finds a way to go wrong. A reduced schedule, a sick week, a family emergency, a child care gap, a car repair, a relationship breakdown. And once you lose housing, getting it back is not a reset button. It is a climb. You need a deposit. You need references. You need paperwork. You need time. You need rest. But homelessness steals time and rest first. Your day becomes a list of survival errands. Bathroom, water, food, phone, safety, transportation, storage, and then try to solve housing on top of that. This is why certain areas become crisis corridors. When people fall, they drift toward where services exist. Outreach teams, clinics, food distribution, shelter access points. Not because people want to live in a storm, because the storm is where the help is. Chapter 6, Health, Treatment, and the Gaps Between exists and accessible. Homelessness becomes a health crisis quickly, not as a stereotype, as biology. Poor sleep changes decision-making. Constant stress changes the body. Exposure makes ordinary illness harder to recover from. Mental health needs can come first. Trauma can come first. Or homelessness can come first. And trauma arrives after, stacked on top of the original crisis. Now add substance use disorder. We have to say this with respect. Substance use disorder is not a punchline. It is not a moral failure. It is a medical and public health condition that often worsens under extreme stress and isolation. Treatment is not only available or not, it is accessible or not. A person without stable housing may not have a reliable phone number, may not have documents, may miss an appointment because they had to move their belongings, may skip a clinic visit because they are afraid to leave their spot unattended. That is how people fall out of care. And when care is fragmented, 5 offices for 5 problems, people drop out. Not because they don't want help, because the system asks for stability from people who do not have it yet. This is why street outreach matters. Mobile care matters. Low barrier entry matters. Because the street does not wait for paperwork. Chapter 7, Fentanyl and the shortened timeline of emergency. Across the United States, fentanyl has reshaped overdose risk. Public health officials have warned for years that people cannot reliably know what is in an illicit substance, and that unpredictability increases the danger. This matters everywhere, but it matters even more for people living outdoors, because emergencies are harder to survive without a safe environment and fast access to care. When someone is isolated, a crisis can become fatal faster. When someone is exhausted, decision-making can change. When someone is living in fear, harm increases. Here is a brief harm reduction note, without instructional detail. If you believe someone is overdosing, call emergency services right away. If naloxone is available, it can help reverse opioid overdoses while medical help is on the way. And if you are in an emotional crisis, the 988 Lifeline in the United States can connect you to support. This is not about judgment. It is about time. Because fentanyl compresses time. People have less time to stabilize, less time to reach treatment, less time to reach housing before the next emergency hits. Chapter 8. The response in Los Angeles and why the gap still shows up on the sidewalk. Los Angeles is not doing nothing. The city and county fund outreach, interim housing, shelters, supportive housing, prevention programs. Nonprofits and community organizations deliver food, hygiene supplies, medical support, and housing navigation every day. And many outreach workers return to the same blocks again and again because trust is built in repetition, not in a single conversation. But even a large system can struggle when the underlying shortage is too big. No city can outprogram a long-term shortage of affordable housing. If rents rise faster than wages, new people will fall into homelessness even as others are rehoused. No city can move its way out of homelessness. Clearing a block does not solve the problem. It relocates it. And relocation can make care harder, not easier. It disrupts outreach connections. It disrupts medication routines. It disrupts the fragile stability people build to survive. Los Angeles shows us a painful truth about big city responses. Effort is real, but outcomes depend on scale, speed, and housing supply. Chapter 9. What works when the camera is gone? So what actually works when it's late, when it's cold, when the headlines move on? First, prevention. Keeping someone housed is usually less costly and less traumatic than rehousing after collapse. Short-term rent support, eviction prevention, utility help, legal aid that arrives before the court date becomes an eviction. Second, housing with support. A door that locks changes the brain. Sleep becomes possible. Appointments become possible. Recovery becomes more realistic. Third, integrated care. Mental health care, primary care, and substance use treatment work better when they are connected. When people are sent to 5 offices for 5 problems, many fall out of the system. Fourth, treatment access that matches reality. Walk-in options where possible. Mobile teams. Low barrier entry. Because paperwork is hard when you're guarding your life in a backpack. Fifth, employment pathways that match the truth. Some people can return to full-time work quickly. Others need transitional roles, training, and time. A slow rebuild is still a rebuild. And finally, dignity. This costs the least, and it changes the temperature of a city. Dignity is calling people by their name, not reducing them to a condition, not assuming the worst story is the whole story, not turning pain into content. Because homelessness is not only a policy problem, it is a community test. Chapter 10. Outro. The question Los Angeles cannot outsource. Los Angeles will keep shining at a distance. The ocean will still be there. The premieres will still happen. The billboards will still promise a better life. The question is not whether Los Angeles will still look successful. The question is whether Los Angeles will accept mass housing instability as normal. Because most people do not lose housing because they stop trying. Many lose housing because the margin disappeared and the system did not catch them in time. If you live in Los Angeles, pay attention to what gets funded. Pay attention to what gets delayed. Pay attention to what reduces homelessness versus what only moves it. And if you're watching from somewhere else, don't treat this as only in LA. Story. Los Angeles is a warning sign for the country. Because when a city becomes too expensive for ordinary life, the sidewalk becomes the overflow plan. This is Homeless US. If you want calm, respectful, city-by-city reporting, subscribe. Share this documentary. And leave a comment with one action you believe would prevent people from falling in the first place. Before the tent, before the emergency, before the street becomes the only address. And if you're watching this while struggling yourself, hear this clearly. You're not a statistic. You're a person, and you deserve help that arrives on time.